But first, a new book. It is book season, indeed. How We Did It by our guest in studio, Daddy to Hockey Players. Karl Subban is with us in studio. Nice to see you. How are
Thank
you?
Thanks for having me.
Did you play hockey?
I wouldn't call it playing. No. I came to Canada. I was way too old, and it was just too far out of my reach to play.
How did your kids get into hockey? I mean, because you're breeding like an entire organization here.
Yeah.
He's in competition with the Stalls, right?
Well, there's a few, yeah.
Yeah, and the Reinhardts. There's a few families that are in competition. How many kids can you put in the National Hockey League? One dad.
Well, he's on his way. Got a couple so far, huh?
And pretty fine citizens too. You know, people I think miss that sometimes when they talk to your sons is or they see them play. They're interesting guys too. You didn't raise one-dimensional sons. You wanted to do more than just raise great athletes, obviously.
Being an educator, I guess.
Sure.
That came. But I want to say something to Bob, that Bob, you need to take some of the credit for PK. It's good and bad.
Huh?
Because he listened to you more than he listened to me when he was younger. We always had Bob on the station, okay? So he's got it. So when you hear the good about PK, please raise your hand. And when you hear the not so good, you need to stand up for him because you helped to raise him.
There you go.
Well, yeah, inadvertently. I thank you for that. Well, but why hockey? How did this just kind of happen? Did they gravitate towards it? Is it because you're in Canada, because you're in suburban Toronto, because hockey is part of the infrastructure? Why not baseball? Why not football? Why not soccer? Why not basketball? Why not another sport?
Kids, they usually follow in your footsteps, especially when they're young. Kids just want to follow you around. I got my granddaughter, all she does, she just want to follow grandpa around the house.
Yeah, I know.
When I came to Canada, we landed on Peter Street in Sudbury, Ontario, and all Francophone kids. And so I'm speaking my Jamaican patois, they're speaking French, but the one language that both groups understood was hockey. And they invited me to play, and kids love to play. That's a natural thing that kids do. And so I started to enjoy the game, and it gave me something to love, something to do. It gave me the opportunity to make some new friends. But I wanted to play like my friend Alan Peltonim, who now lives in South Porcupine. He was like Bobby Orr. And I couldn't play because I was so much older, not older in the sense that I came to Canada at 12 years old. And, I wanted my cricket bat to become my hockey stick and the cricket ball to be my hockey puck. But I think it was too much time had passed. And my parents weren't focused on hockey, let's face it, just trying to make ends meet. So, but I became a fan from playing. From watching the Canadians, I quickly connected to Ken Dryden, who I have idolized because playing soccer, I was a goalie. And guess what position Ken played? And then I became a big fan of the Sudbury Wolves. It's like, speaking to people who grew up in Toronto, they used to go to the Marlies game. And I remember the Marlies in the 70s were just really great hockey.
The junior team.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they would come to the Sudbury Arena. I saw I was just a big Sudbury Wolves fan, from Bobby Russell, Jim Bedard. I grew up with Jim Fox, Alex McKendry, all the... so hockey became a big part of Karl Subban earlier on in my life. And even though I sort of moved out of Sudbury, hockey never moved out of me. So once we had our children, and the girls first, they learned how to skate. We didn't ski.
Yeah.
We didn't swim as a family, but we skated. And if you saw me then, you wouldn't call it skating.
So you integrated the boys into it? You encouraged them to play hockey?
It was something that what I learned was that kids want to be their parents. They want to be with you. Kids want to spend time with their parents. Mm-hmm. And time with them is what stays in them. You know what I mean? It's not what you buy them. It's the time you spend with them. And so I enjoyed skating. I loved hockey. I mean, I played basketball at Lakehead. I had a dream to play in the NBA. That was short-lived, but it never replaced my hockey dream. I saw myself playing through the Montreal Canadiens. Sorry, fans of the Maple Leafs,
Yeah.
you know. And so when my kids came into this world, you know, that's one of the things they started doing, skating. Girls, then the boys. PK had his skates on before he was out of Pampers. You know what I mean?
That must have been awkward.
No. Like a lot of the hockey dads thought I had caught on to something about
Extra protection.
No, extra skating. You never had to take washroom breaks. You know, I had but no, it was something, Bob, that became a big part of our family, from watching Hockey Night in Canada to skating, and then at a young age, PK, you know, he could skate.
Yep.
And my friends bought the equipment, brought it to me, and I remember that first night. I documented in the book. I'm sitting there in her apartment, and it was like a puzzle. You know what I mean? How does this work? I knew about the skates, but I didn't know about some of the other pieces.
Oh, yeah, you got a room full of equipment here. You got to figure out, where does everything go?
I had to wait till I was at the rink the Saturday morning, and I'm trying to, okay, that goes there, and you know, eventually it all worked out.